In 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
Live without a net.
It feels like it's been like a month since I've been on the show because we had the race and I was kind of here, and then we had an episode, and then we were gone for the 4th, and now we're back. Episode 13?
13, baby.
How was your 4th?
It was hot.
It was hot.
Hot. It was fun. A lot of family time, barbecues, beer, sun, stuff. How about you?
It was okay. I was starting to feel under the weather, so I went to a buddy's pool, wasn't going to try to do anything nuts, and then Jeff Bashaw and his family had people over for the Glenview fireworks in the Glen, which, by the way, blow Chicago's out of the water. Sorry, Chicago.
Really?
It's insane. If you live in the Glen, the fireworks are like 10 feet from you, so they're huge, and they go on for like 45 minutes. And Jeff kept saying the finale is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. And I'm like, I lived in Streeterville, and I overlooked Navy Pier, so every Wednesday and Saturday for 11 years, all I did was watch fireworks. I'm like, I'm not going to be that impressed.
Right.
Pretty impressive.
Okay, so is it just a township unto itself?
Yeah, so it's its own township, but the Glen in Glenview is like kind of like, I don't know, it's like a little city within Glenview, and they host the fireworks there off of, I don't know, like their field.
Yeah.
And it went on forever. They must have spent $100,000 on those fireworks. It was insane. And then they play music to the fireworks. It's pretty cool.
Nice, very good.
Yeah, Suburban Mo with his Suburban fireworks. Any shout-outs today?
Yeah, actually I do.
You always have the cool shout-outs.
So tomorrow, there's a fundraiser called Gaming for Green. It is a Texas Hold'em poker tournament and Vegas night. I've been sitting on the board for the last couple of years. And I want to make mention, I put together a package for auction for tomorrow. And I call it Shop and Sip up and down Southport. And so what I want to do is I want to give a shout out to, I've got a bunch here, so I have to read them. The Monkey's Paw, Corridor Brewery, Diag Bar and Grill, 404 Wine Bar, Tuco and Blondie, Sales Trattoria, and Southport Lanes. They all donated gift cards that we can use in one big package to auction. So whoever wins it can go out for a day and night, a couple nights, and just go up and down and enjoy food and beverages, couple games of bowling, and boutiques and all kinds of stuff. So I really want to thank everybody for their generosity. All of the funds from Gaming for Green goes to Gateway Green, and what they do is they plant trees and bushes and shrubs in parks and thoroughfares in the city of Chicago to clean and green Chicago.
Very cool.
So it is. It's it's super fun. The event, open bar, all kinds of food, blackjack, craps, roulette. There's Texas Hold'em poker tournament. The first prize, you get the $10,000 World Series of Poker seat in Vegas.
Very cool.
It's fresh rolled cigars. I mean, it's just so it's at. I should hold on one second. Let me see if I can do this. Well, I'm talking all about this. There it is. It's called Gaming for Green. It's at Gallery Marchetti at Halstead and Lake, I believe. Halstead and Erie. I should know that. It's right in there. Beautiful venue, great organization, and it's a really fun event. So tomorrow night the doors open at 5:30. Texas Hold'em poker tournament starts at 7. It's open bar all night from like 5:30 until 11. And tickets are like $60.
You can still get them at the door?
You can still get them at the door. I know that everybody on the board has sold a ton. It's going to be a really fun night. But there are still some available at the door. We actually extended the venue space that we're using from last year so that we could accommodate. It's fun.
What's the dress code?
Business casual to dressy.
Okay.
A lot of suits and ties. Not this. I'm a little casual today. I've been running around for Gaming for Green all day. But tomorrow's going to be suit and tie.
Okay.
Ladies, sundresses and short skirts or whatever. It's like going to a higher end nightclub with gambling. It's like being in Vegas and going to a nightclub and being able to gamble at the same time.
Maggie said, Mo, you must come with us. That's why I was asking. I'm under the weather, obviously, so if I'm feeling better tomorrow, if I just come from work and I'm just dressed like kind of business cash, I can show up.
Well, plus you got a guy.
I got a guy. I got a guy who'll see me. I just don't ever want to be the guy who's way underdressed. I'm okay being overdressed. I went to a event in Lincoln Park this past spring, and my friend said it was black tie, but it wasn't black tie. And I wore a red velvet tuxedo to a not black tie event. So I wasn't just overdressed, I was stupid overdressed, which is fine. I can handle being overdressed. I just cannot handle being underdressed, which would drive me nuts. But I'll do my best. If I'm not coughing all over myself, I'll come tomorrow for a bit.
Okay. Yeah, it really is. You'll enjoy it. If you know anybody that likes playing poker or just gaming.
Matt Rosen. If he's usually
Matt Rosen.
Listening, so if Rosen's listening,
that's right.
He's a professional poker player, so.
Oh.
Yeah, he's actually gone to the World Series a couple times, played a few times, and he's done well. Cool. Actually, I think he won the Chicago Poker Classic or that big tournament.
Yes.
A few, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. A big tournament.
They put that on Comcast Sports Center.
Yeah.
Like the final
He either
rounds.
won it or took second place and hit big, and I know he plays a lot of professional poker, so, hey, Rosen, go play.
Yeah, come on. So that's all my shout-outs. Everybody was really, really nice. As soon as I told them what it was all about, it's a 501c3. People were like, absolutely, I'd love to help. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we got one guest today. Our other guest couldn't make it, but I'm happy to have this guest on, and I can talk to this guy forever, so it's okay. I'm great rolling with one guest because we're going to talk about his business, coffee, talk about some jiu-jitsu. Maybe we'll talk about – did you watch the fights this weekend?
I didn't catch
He didn't, so we're not going to talk about the UFC fights this weekend.
I caught the highlights on Instagram.
Okay, all right. That's probably good enough.
So you can fill me in.
We'll chat about that a little bit. He was on 5-6 weeks ago, and it was our one episode with terrible audio issues.
We did.
And we had to bring him back because his story's amazing, his coffee's incredible, and we just like talking to him. So Justin Doggett from Kyoto Black, thanks for coming back on
Thanks
with us.
for having me again. I appreciate it.
What's going on since last time? So last time they couldn't hear that well. So
Okay.
I'll do the backstory again of how this happened, and then we'll just kind of talk about all the stuff you've been doing. I saw pictures of you at festivals. You were biking around. You're still in great shape. I'm getting fatter since last time. He's getting in better shape. So how did the business come about? And tell us how it started.
So basically the business started with a hobby. So kind of rewind the clock back to 2012. I just recently heard about Kyoto style coffee. I was before this a minimum wage barista. So getting out of college, 2011, take a minimum wage barista job, and I'm finding out more about coffee. So, I thought I knew something about coffee, but once I actually got in there professionally, I found out there were real levels to it. And part of the job was tasting coffees from other places. And once I had this one coffee, it was from Passion House Coffee Roasters, which is located here in Chicago. They had a natural process coffee. And I actually brought a natural process Ethiopian coffee, which is the same kind of coffee that they had.
Yeah.
This one's not as crazy as that one was, but it was really what set me off, that spark in my head for what coffee could be, because it didn't taste like coffee at all.
Awesome.
It was like blueberry pancakes, tasted like colors. It was crazy.
I think, and I love your coffee, and I'm not a coffee guy at all. And I tell everybody, I'm like, I don't love coffee, but I love Justin's coffee. And I think it's because maybe it doesn't just taste like coffee, and maybe it's because it's cold brew. Although I like hot tea, so it's weird. I just like your stuff. It's that good. Explain the difference between Kyoto style and then also why you went cold.
Yeah, so basically the Kyoto style and the cold are, they are one and the same in a way, where cold brew is just using cold water and time to brew the coffee. So when you use hot water, that hot water has more energy in it, the heat.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
So it takes less time to extract the coffee solids. When you have cold water, it's less energetic, so you need more time. That's why cold brew takes overnight. It takes 12, 16 hours, 24 hours even sometimes.
Wow.
To brew versus 5 minutes. And then the Kyoto style part of it is just the method of the water delivery. So when you typically do a cold brew, you would steep the grounds in water, and they'd be kind of free floating like a French press, and then you just filter it out. With Kyoto style, it's more like a pour over or like a drip coffee, where you're slowly dripping cold water one drop at a time through the coffee grounds and then letting that just kind of percolate through. And you collect that in the carafe at the bottom.
That is crazy. There's so much science behind it. When you first started and you said you were a barista, did you just start researching like crazy this stuff? Because it seems like to be able to get to a point where it's almost like research and development, and then you just have to, it's trial and error almost, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy actually. So, to complete the story that I had started earlier, which is I was a minimum wage barista, learning about this stuff, decided that I wanted to become the best barista that I could. Ended up leaving that cafe just because it wasn't necessarily the right place for me to grow, and went into fine dining. And they used my talents for coffee a lot. I worked at Next here in Chicago for over a year. Just kind of randomly got this job at a high-level restaurant. And while I was there, I was working on Kyoto style at home because I wanted to get a Kyoto style brewer, but they're like $400.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to just build one instead.
Crazy.
And that's how it started.
So for those of you that don't know, we know each other from jiu-jitsu. Shout out to Jay Valco and Valco BJJ. The first I ever heard of it was when you were bringing them to Valco in bottles, and you were just sampling them to us.
Yeah, I was giving them away for like the longest time.
Yeah, this is really good. So we had those like almost like large bottles that kind of resembled that, but even
it's like
more
Gerolsteiner, the large bullets. Yeah.
And then we all drank it. It was really good. And then eventually it was charged, and everyone's like, "All right, we're going to buy a ton of it because it's amazing still." Was that when you were doing it at home?
I was still doing it at home. So basically, because I'm a huge fan of different waters, I actually follow a guy who's a water sommelier, and he talks about all the different mineral compositions of the water and how it impacts the flavor of water. And so I drink Gerolsteiner a lot.
Really?
And so I would get Gerolsteiner by the caseload, and I would just finish it, clean those bottles, sanitize them, and then fill them with coffee.
Crazy. Yeah. There's so much science behind it. Like I'm sure when John and John, do you drink coffee?
I do.
You do? I'm sure when like John goes to Starbucks and gets a coffee, he's not even thinking somebody put a lot of effort into coming up with research and development of coffee. And then I'm sure most people, when you tell them you brew coffee, don't realize that you're not Starbucks. You are like taking it 700 steps further and putting so much research and development into it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. So when did you decide to go from kind of the grassroots in the bottle to, I mean, your marketing and your bag is really cool. I could show it to everybody. Yeah. John, is it on me? Camera? Straight up? I got these short T-Rex arms. This is like Simba, like I'm holding up Simba. Cue the music. There you go. But it's like, it's such a cool packaging.
Yeah.
And I have one at home. We have it in our office. For real estates and real estate agents, realtors, these bags are really cool to take to open houses. Johnny in our office has branded some of these. He's put stickers on them. He takes them to open houses, shares them at his open house, and he gets people to stick around. We've served it in our office. Actually, we were just talking right before we started about doing a kegerator at Main Street with coffee in it. So all of our agents coming soon, we will have a Kyoto Black kegerator in our office, and you guys are going to be wired, and you won't be drunk. We'll talk a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about how you also mix it with liquor and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
We're not going to get you guys drunk at work. We'll just get you wired, like John said. So how did that transition happen from those, big grassroots bottles to what we see today?
Yeah, so it's funny because it wasn't like exactly a moment. It was more so a series of realizations. One of the realizations that I had was that, obviously e-commerce is taking over the world, and I want to become a part of that. I want to create a scalable business. That's ultimately what I was thinking. And, it just so happened that cold brew was the perfect vehicle for me to do that, because you can essentially take a product and make it perfect every time and replicate that and then send it to anybody really anywhere. I just sent some. I have a customer who orders in Switzerland. Wow. Every year, she'll order during the summertime.
So what's the shelf life? So if somebody buys a bag like that and they have it at home, like this woman in Switzerland, how long can she keep the bags?
So under refrigeration, I tell people 3 months is fine. As far as like not in refrigeration, maybe 2 weeks before you really start to notice anything off with it. It's kind of like produce in a sense. It's like a long-lasting produce, like onions.
Yeah.
Where like onions seem to last longer than everything else, but at some point they go as well.
Right.
That's kind of how this product is. But in terms of how I ideally would like it to be consumed. Maybe like within 3 weeks. You
Okay,
probably
cool.
want to have it all consumed.
Our office
under
will go through your
refrigeration.
kegerator within 3 weeks. I said grassroots a couple times. So I love that you started in your home and then it grew to, it's a hit. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we have there's a bar pizza place in Lincoln Park that we go to all the time, WheelHouse.
Yeah.
And we saw your logo, and actually we were playing kickball on Monday, and a couple of people were pointing it out. They're like, that's the coffee. And they pointed out the sign. How did you go from being in your home in a bottle to getting the word out about Kyoto Black? Because it's popping up everywhere in Chicago, which is awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's been, several different factors. For one, it's just a great product, and people always stand behind great products with a cool story, And because it's a one-man business, I'm doing everything. So people will generally hear about it directly through me or through a friend, a mutual friend. And that's been mostly it, honestly. I just recently started doing some advertising. And I've been doing Reddit ads, actually. Reddit ads have been performing incredibly well for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you do any Facebook posts?
I
sponsored?
had done some, but I don't think I'm very good at them.
Okay.
So I probably need to go back to the drawing board and figure those out, because I think Facebook is probably the best, ad platform
Yeah.
in the world right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to use it so well.
Jason Kaship might be a good guy to look
I
up
spoke
with
to him
too.
a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
He's more so doing the Google stuff.
Google stuff?
Yeah, he's just kind of getting into the Facebook stuff.
Johnny Roto in our office does a really
Okay.
good job with Facebook clicks
so
too.
sharp.
Johnny has done a really good job with his Facebook, so he might be a good guy to chat
Yeah.
with. And I'll chat with you off air. We do a
Okay.
lot of Facebook advertising at Main Street, and target audience is going to be really important to
Yeah.
kind of carve out, and then from there, knowing what you're sponsoring, it makes some sense. But I mean, it's fantastic, and I guess the best way to advertise that thing is get it in front of people, have people taste it because it's so good.
Exactly.
You have the bike now that you're biking around to festivals. How's that going?
It's going fun. It's really good. My farmer's tan is super legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What festivals are you hitting up?
So I'm mostly hitting farmers markets like Green City,
Okay.
Logan Square. Sometimes I'll do Greenwood up in like Rogers Park area.
Yeah.
And then really any festival that pops up, like Do Division or Edge Fest, stuff like that. The thing is, like, honestly, getting inside of those festivals is very expensive.
Yes, very, very expensive.
It's like $2,000 application fee, no guarantee of a spot.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll just pull up outside with my trike, and people can get coffee on their way in and way out.
Yeah.
And that pretty much works for me.
Do you ride that thing everywhere? I mean, that thing is big.
It's huge.
Heavy.
Yeah, and it steers like a boat. It's like I get in my car, and my car handles way better than that trike. So I actually rent a U-Haul trailer, and then I put it on there because I was riding it from Edgewater to Centertown, and it was taking me like 2 hours to get here.
I mean, he's in unbelievable shape. It's insane. He's one of the things, like if you do jiu-jitsu with him, when he grabs a hold of you, he feels like he's 300 pounds, not what are you, 150?
155.
Yeah, he feels literally twice as strong as he weighs.
Appreciate it.
But that thing is huge, and you're carrying a ton of coffee.
It's got a lot of coffee, and it's probably like 350 pounds total.
Holy smokes!
Yeah,
and then you got to bike that around.
You got to bike it, and I'm getting passed by people jogging. It's super slow.
You're just crawling along.
Yeah, I'm just barely making it.
But I think it's such a cool branding tool because it
is.
A, it looks cool.
Yeah.
B, it turns heads, and you get the word out because people start drinking it, and you are popping up everywhere, so they start to see it. And then branding, branding, I always tell people, is a repetitive thing.
Right.
If you continuously get in front of somebody's face and you're in the forefront of their minds and they see it, it takes 3, 4, 5 times of them seeing it, and they're like, okay, I recognize that brand. And I feel like all around Chicago it's popping up, which is really cool.
You know what? Like, honestly, whenever I see anyone looking at my trike, I don't try to sell anybody because I already know what the cues are for selling someone anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to go super hard, like sell everybody.
Yeah.
I want to sell them, but only if they want to be sold to.
Right, I
But
love
for the
that.
most part, when someone just looks at my trike, I just wave and smile.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I want them to see my brand and smile.
Yeah.
That's it. And
That's
if I do that
awesome.
enough times, maybe they'll come, maybe they won't. That's fine. But
Yeah. It's hot as hell out recently, so
I'm sorry?
I said it's hot as hell out recently, so
Yeah.
cold brew coffee
Yeah.
sounds like a good thing when
It
you're
is
walking
solid,
around
yeah.
and it's
It is.
really hot. Should we sample some stuff, John?
Oh, I would love to. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, let's do that. I'm like a little bit under the weather, and so I've had this low energy, and typically I end up having like a pre-workout to give me a boost of energy. But I knew you're coming on today, so I'm excited to have some coffee.
Cool, yeah, and then we'll actually just go ahead and do a side-by-side.
Sweet.
So,
Next time we have him on, we got to do the liquor version of it because he
Yeah.
actually does mix. He's done a bunch of like cool cold brew and alcohol mixes.
yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds like a fun idea for sure.
So, the guy who I'm working with on that too is the beverage director at Cindy's Rooftop.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah, we're basically creating a little book, an industry book. It's just for people. I mean, obviously anyone can, get it if they want it, but it's going to be intended for people in the actual hospitality industry.
Yeah.
For cold brew centric cocktails.
So what are we taste testing first?
Okay, so yeah, this is going to be the natural process Ethiopian coffee that I mentioned
Okay.
before.
Very cool. John's coming to get his dose.
Yep. So first thing I like to do too, we can do a little bit of a kind of introduction to
Okay, yeah.
coffee tasting. So the first thing that I always like to do is smell everything that I eat or drink.
Okay.
And when you smell, if you allow a little bit of airflow to come in through your mouth at the same time that you're breathing, you will completely agitate your sinus cavity.
Yeah. And then what should this smell like to a trained nose, I guess?
Well, I mean, to a trained nose, you'll get real specific, like fig, plum. You'll get raisin. I'm getting a lot of dark fruit from this.
I was going to say plum.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was thinking plum.
Mhm.
It's got like a plum kind of.
I mean, you have a pretty trained palate. Like I watch you. You're into gourmet things. Most people would probably just get fruit right off the bat. They wouldn't
Yeah.
kind of unidentified fruit, like fruit punch. It's kind of like that blanket term for
Yeah.
what a lot of people do get. But in this particular one, I get dark, kind of raisined fruit.
Yeah, honestly, plum was the first thing to pop into my mind.
Yeah, maybe even like
Tasty.
Turkish apricots.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Middle Eastern, so we eat those sometimes.
And then when you sip it, just kind of like aerate it on your tongue a little bit, like.
I think I just chugged it.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
all
like
good. You want a little
when
more?
somebody gives you like a fine beverage and I just put it
Yeah.
down, and they're like, "You weren't supposed to do that, killer."
You think
It's
this is
so
vodka?
good. And then I see the tonic water, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because the bag I have at home that I'm going through, I mixed it with tonic water almost
Yeah.
every time. So I'll go in my backyard now, and I'll hang out with my dog, and I pour tonic water into my cold brew, and it's so refreshing.
It's crazy, yeah.
So what is it about tonic water that's making this go from being a coffee to, I mean, it almost feels like, I don't know, it feels like a very refreshing summery drink.
Right. Well, the first thing is that when you add bubbles to something, it automatically makes it more refreshing.
Makes sense.
So it's cold, it's bubbly, and then when you look at the flavors in coffee, outside of like the fruit or the chocolate flavors, you essentially have sweetness and bitterness.
Okay.
And you really have the same thing in a tonic as well.
Right.
And then you have your citrus notes as well in that tonic, which the citrus notes will often make things more lively, more summery, and more refreshing. So when you add that on top of whatever fruit flavors you get in the coffee, or whatever cola flavors you get, especially with the darker coffees, because when you mix them with like a sparkling water, those chocolate notes become more like cola.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So splash of tonic, or is it like 50-50? Do you typically, is there like a ratio?
It depends on how you feel. So like, for example, because every morning I'll have a soda, an unsweetened soda with coffee. And in that particular case, I will do like 90% soda water and then just hit it with just the coffee flavor just on
okay.
top of it. Just because at this point, like, I know I'm going to have a lot of coffee.
Right.
So I don't want to go crazy
Do you
right out
pee
the
all
gate.
day long?
Yes. Yeah. So, but, maybe like 1/4 coffee and then the rest of it, tonic would be a good ratio.
Okay, awesome. See, I was doing the opposite. I was doing like 90% coffee and then splash of tonic, and it still felt really refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
for
still
me.
going to be refreshing. Flip it the other way and
Okay.
you'll find it.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Everybody's got their own thing, but I think you might like that a little
Definitely
bit.
wakes me up more when I do the 90% coffee.
Yeah.
Can we do one of those with the tonic? Can we
Yeah,
try
absolutely.
one? Excellent.
I didn't sip it again. I just like took it down. Like I don't have that like sipping bone
Habit.
in me.
Yeah.
And then you've been winning awards. I mean, I joke I call you the people's champion because
Yeah.
he was in a national cold brew contest, and all the people who taste tested voted him number 1. The judges voted him number 2 out of the country, which makes you the people's champion because more people voted for you than. I mean, judges are a couple people. Everybody else voted you as number 1, which is very cool.
I got like, I think it was like 79% of the vote, something like that.
Wow. Of the people?
Of the people vote, yeah.
79?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was something crazy. And then I lost all the judges, and the judges' scores are heavily weighted.
Oh,
so if I'd won a single judge, I would have won the whole thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I lost all 3. I was like, how'd that happen?
Yeah, you are the undisputed people's champion.
I'm like, what is
that
this?
That's insane.
I calculated because it's funny too. The way the judges' score was weighted on the website.
Yeah.
Even with, because it was like 33% weight, but even with that 33%, I still win just because my people's victory is so huge.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait a minute, you guys, I still win with 51% of the vote.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy, like, you know. And it turned out they were like, no, actually, we retooled it so the judges' score was like 42%.
Somebody rigged
and I was
that.
just like, come
We're
on.
like, somebody rigged that. Can you go back to that next year, or are you like, screw you guys, I'm not
Oh,
coming
I'm
back?
good with them. It's
You're
all
with
good.
them.
I
You
mean,
go back?
you know, it's fine. It got me a lot of press.
Yeah.
It honestly, you know, all I lost from it was the extra prize money, which was
Yeah.
like $500, so I'm not tripping. And it gave me a cooler story. Like
Yeah,
the story.
Yeah,
was
this is a
worth-
cool story.
Yeah,
You
the
are the
story was
people's
worth
champion.
$500. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I read that, I was mad for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's the people's champion.
Yeah.
Just forget the 6 or 5 judges. Or how many
Exactly.
judges were there?
It was
like,
3.
Oh, my God. It was 3
3
against all the
judges.
people?
Yeah. And then on top of that,
That upsets me.
they were just like organizers and then friends of organizers.
Yeah.
They weren't like coffee people. I mean, they're
Yeah,
coffee people
yeah,
because
yeah.
they put on a coffee festival, but
Yeah.
they're not like anybody with a name in coffee. Not to talk
Yeah.
trash, but it's just the
Yeah,
case. Like,
yeah.
I know my palate's probably better than theirs. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. But it is a better story now because you are the people's champ.
yep. We got one more here too.
Brendan Nestor said, Kyoto Black, exclamation point, exclamation point. He was a past guest, a realtor, obviously has seen your stuff around.
Yeah. What's up,
Brendan,
champ?
he should get him for your open houses, buddy, because these things work really well at open houses.
Especially this guy right here. This is my flagship dark roast.
Yeah, this is the flagship. This is what I took home with me. This is what we've been serving in the office, and it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah. In like the last month, I've been really nailing it too. Like, I just made some tweaks.
I was about to ask you that. How much has it changed from when you were bottling it and we were drinking it at Valco kind of at the beginning to today?
Oh, it's way more like refined.
Okay.
It's like smoother.
Okay.
You know, I just kind of dialed in on my ratios, on my timing, on my water mineral content, you know, just like all that stuff. Because every input matters with coffee brewing. It's kind of funny because I look at a lot of recipes online for how to make different coffees, or like you'll be on YouTube and there'll be a video that says how to make cold brew at home. And the thing is, they treat cold brew or making coffee in general like cooking, but it's actually more like baking. You
Okay.
can't just play around with how much baking soda you use. You can't play with how much flour you use. Like, there's a set ratio and recipe and process and temperatures for getting a certain kind of bread or a certain kind of, you know, biscuit or cake. Same thing's true with coffee. So
Interesting.
coffee is like baking. Like, you need to, you know, mind the ratios of water. You need to mind the time, the temperature, and then the mineral composition.
There's
of
a
the water.
science and a finesse behind it.
There is.
And I love that you keep evolving, because it was a great product when we first drank it, but the fact that you're constantly trying to push and push
Yeah.
to find the best version of it that you can is probably what's eventually going to make this thing the biggest hit
Yeah.
ever. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a strive to make it better, and it's a passion. I mean, I can tell
Mm-hmm.
just talking to you. I think John probably agrees. Like, you have a real passion for this, and the fact that it started as a passion, then turned into a business, is amazing. What are kind of next steps for this? I mean, is the next thing that you're looking at how to scale this thing bigger? Is it marketing?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically trying to take what I've already done and just make it a little bigger. You know, obviously marketing is always going to be a huge thing, just that marketing sales, just kind of nailing
Yeah.
that. You know, I want to do a pop-up cafe.
Okay,
You know,
that'd be
next
cool.
year.
Yeah.
The city just started a new permitting system for pop-ups.
Yeah, I
wanna-
heard about it recently.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually funny. Like, the city's making some strides towards helping smaller businesses
Yes.
and making it more, you know, a friendly environment here. So I want to jump on some of those opportunities and do some pop-ups, maybe show off some of the cool drinks that are non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I love it. And the city is. I mean, Chicago's been notoriously known as a very business unfriendly town. I deal with them a lot of times for clients of mine on the legal side when we got issues with, oh my God, your sidewalk was 3 inches too close to the building. Here's a gigantic violation. Right. It's like somebody actually came out and measured. Yeah. And you're 3 inches off. Like, come on, give me a break. But recently, there has been an uptick in trying to help small businesses, which is really cool. Funny enough, this is very random and a side note. The first fee I've ever seen the city reduce was the LLC fee went to a third.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this year.
It's less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went
even
from
less,
500 to 125 or something.
Yeah, 125.
Like that. Yeah.
We do the expedited always, so it went from like $614 for us to like $250 for the expedited fee. But
that's huge.
You're like, holy smokes, the city of Chicago reduced the fee for something. Yeah. I couldn't believe it, but it was very much for businesses. So I like that trend. I think it's going to be good for
That's really awesome.
For the city.
They also took, because when you're working in shared kitchen spaces, this is a whole space that's been going through just radical change in the past like 12 years. If you go back, you can look at some real horror stories about certain people getting all their food product thrown away just because they had the wrong type of license. They weren't even exactly violating any health code, but just the way it was processed was like not correct. The health department shows up and just trashes everything, pours bleach on everything. They lose like $3,000 worth of product, and they have open orders they can't fulfill, right? And their
terrible.
Business is frozen. So you have that sort of situation to now where, it's not ideal, but, the certain variances, like, for example, I bottle my product and I had to get special permission to bottle it without machinery. That requirement got lifted this year.
Really?
Yeah, they said it's fine. You don't have to worry no more.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that the city is trying to take some of the roadblocks down from people who are trying to. It's hard enough to be a business owner. It's hard enough to start a business. It's scary enough to start a business. It's hard enough to grow a business, and there's so many roadblocks. So taking some of that stuff down really is awesome. I'm glad they're doing that. So outside of your own coffee, which is my favorite, is there a coffee or a brand that you love to drink yourself?
I mean, at this point, like, to be honest, I love my own coffee the most. Yeah. I think I really nailed it down. Yeah. So generally I'll just get a bean that I like and then make it myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
you're like, you know what? I know what I like and I can do it myself better than the rest. I love it.
Yeah.
So if a realtor, and I'm seeing a ton of realtors commenting, so I'm going to ask this because I think a lot of them, and I see a bunch of them watching on my video. I'm watching the video while I'm talking to you guys. John's like, yeah, I know you are. But I want to speak to the audience because that's the audience that's watching. Sure. Yep. To brand those bags, they just buy them from you, and then Johnny did his own branding for that, right?
Yeah. So basically, he just put a sticker on the front of it.
Okay. Very cool. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you to buy the bags to take to open houses, how do they do that?
So yeah, basically, they can just contact me on my website. Okay. So if they go to the contact page, there's a little web form. Just shoot me a message.
It goes to you.
Yeah, it'll come to me directly to me, and I'll work with you and make something good happen.
Very cool. And real estate offices, I see a couple of broker owners also watching. Shout out to them. Get a kegerator for your office. Yeah. I think it's going to be a cool thing to add to the environment of your office. That's going to be awesome. Shifting gears, and we're going to come back to this in a second and talk about tips for entrepreneurs and stuff. We were talking off air about a book you're reading. Yeah. And John and I love talking about books. Tell us about the book you're reading.
So I just started F.U. Money
I love it.
By Dan Lok, and it's so far really amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
And F.U. Money obviously means fuck you money. We can say that because it's our own show and we can say whatever the hell we want. Is the premise just how to get to fuck you money? Or
Exactly, yeah. It's just determining, okay, what's your number? And then breaking that down into like manageable steps. Because it's like everybody who says, oh, I'm going to become rich, they just say it like it's a dream or like it's a hope. And they don't have any sort of actionable way of framing it in their minds to see it as being attainable. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest business tip, and it's funny, I just sparked it in my head, and my favorite quote in the world is, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And it's the plan for me that I always tell people. It's if you have a plan to lose 50 pounds this year, people are going to say that's a lot of weight. But if you had a plan to lose a pound this week, someone would look at me and say, Mo, so don't eat tacos, you dummy, and you'll lose a pound this week. Pound a week for 52 weeks is 52 pounds. You can break your goals down like that too. I call it winning the week in my office. So does he say basically figure out how much money's fuck you money and then break that down?
Yeah,
into
for
what you
personally.
Do?
So like he has an example of his chart.
Yeah.
And all the things that he wants to spend money on. He's like, yo, just be honest. Like if you need, 50K a year to go on vacations, put 50K. Like just be super duper honest, like for every single category. And then, account for like the taxes that you'll have to pay, everything. And then that's how much you need to make every single year.
I'm going to depress myself because I love cars. So I'm going to read this thing and be like, I'm so far away from having fuck you money. It's not even funny.
But at least now you know, right?
At least now you know.
And knowing's half the battle, as they say.
What's
right?
his like fuck you money level?
So his at the time of writing that it's like 600K a year. Yeah.
See, I don't think like that's a lot of money, but I don't think that's fuck you money.
No. That's the thing. Like he said, it changed. When he put the book together, and as he was like coming through this process, that was his, his fuck you money. And he's like, I live excellently, but as I started to get closer to that, it was like, all right.
That's what happens, though.
Yeah.
So Tony Robbins has spoke about if you got I think it was $10 million. He said,
yeah.
You can live your life because you can invest a lot of it. You can buy yourself a really nice house, buy a couple nice cars. You can even invest some of it and get like a jet pass and fly sometimes private. You can rent a yacht if you want once a year. So you can live basically the lifestyle of somebody that has $200 million,
right?
Without going and buying like a $250 million boat. I mean, there's people out there who literally buy $250 million boats, and that's like a different level of go fuck yourself money.
Right.
But
that's
I guess it's
money.
I guess actually though the point that he makes is like the point of FU money is really what is like the floor.
Yeah, what's the floor?
The floor of like, okay, you make this much and you hit all your points.
Yeah.
You can go beyond that.
Right.
And you can start to really get to like
fuck
wealth and
you,
impact.
fuck you money.
Yeah, right. Everybody.
Fuck you twice money.
There's like FU and F everybody, right?
Yeah.
But essentially that's kind of the floor for it for him. So
I like that.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be my next read. I got a couple trips coming up, and I always like grabbing books to go on trips, but that's going to be fun. There's
you can get the audiobook for free. Sorry to cut you off.
Really?
You can get the audiobook. Yeah, it's on his site for free.
Oh, perfect. I'm
Yeah.
downloading
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
I might listen to that on the way home
Right
today.
after we get off
actually.
the air,
Yeah.
we're going to both order it.
There's it just popped up again. Like sometimes you watch those shows, like the rich and famous shows. They were talking about these, and I thought about the boat thing because there's two guys in the world right now. I'm sure there's a lot of guys with mega yachts. It's one of the either the princes of Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and then a Russian billionaire who keep trying to one up one another with bigger mega yachts.
Yeah.
So, but they're building these like they first build like a $100 million mega yacht, and then the other one builds a little bit of a bigger yacht. So then they are like, well, screw that $100 million yacht. I'm going to go build a $250 million yacht.
Yeah.
And it's like they're building these like stupid yachts. And the
Yeah.
guy from Russia was like ex-KGB, and one of his boats had been boarded by pirates. So basically the next boat he built was so big and luxurious, but then had like the missile capabilities of an aircraft carrier. So he had a submarine, he had anti-aircraft missiles, and it was at all times guarded. And the show I was watching was basically saying like he will release the coordinates of the boat, and he has given an all-out like challenge to pirates: try to board this boat.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, that's real fuck you money because he's just got this $250 million boat, and he's like, you know what? I'll even tell you guys where it is. Try to come board it now.
Come and get it.
Why not just build a spaceship at that point?
Elon Musk might too.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in the process of building it, but that's cool. I just got done reading Extreme Ownership for the second time.
A lot of people talk about that.
One of my favorite books.
Yeah.
I've read it a few years back, and then we're doing a lot of stuff with our tech company and Main Street, and I love the book because it's a cool book. You hear a lot of stories about being a Navy SEAL, but also the mindset of the book is you take extreme ownership of what you're doing. The buck stops back at you, and you have to take ownership of your mistakes and all of that. Now, I just love that book. It's one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
If I had to recommend anybody to read a book right now, it'd probably be that one. maybe I'll change my mind after read Fuck You Money. Or F
I
You
mean,
Money.
it's interesting, and I actually would recommend the audiobook too, because it's a great companion to the book itself.
Okay.
Which actually you can also get for free from his site. Both are available.
Does he have a good audio voice? Because I listen to Audible all the time, and the reason I love Extreme Ownership too is because the guy he sounds like an ABC.
Jocko?
Yeah, Jocko.
Yeah.
I mean, Jocko's got like that deep kind
Jocko's
of
got
like
a voice, man.
yeah, like he commands a room.
Yeah.
And then I've listened to like if somebody loves this book, I listened to Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, and the guy who is narrating the book, 10 minutes in, I'm like, shoot me, I can't listen to this guy anymore. I was like, I'm done.
So the guy narrates his own book, and he's a Chinese immigrant.
Okay.
And he learned English here. So he actually came to America broke.
You know what? Now that you say that, I've seen his Facebook ad for it.
Okay.
He's in the back of a car, maybe?
Yeah, he's in the back of a Bentley.
Bentley.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen it.
So in his
Okay,
voice.
perfect.
And he's just like dropping F-bombs all day.
I love it.
Yeah, and his voice is so great because there's something about like the particular cadence of like Chinese English, which is like really straightforward.
Yes.
And his information is very straightforward. And he's like, if you don't like this, I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
You know.
So that reminds me, shout out to my buddy Richard Kim. We were I was in Cancun with him, and his girlfriend lives in China. She's Chinese, and we were on a boat together. And at the beginning of the trip, I was in fairly good shape, but I ate and drank a lot. And towards the end of the trip, when we were on the boat together, we're taking a photo, and she goes, "What happened to your abs?" She goes, and she just said it straight up, but she didn't even mean it as a joke to me. She was
Yeah.
very serious about it,
Straight up.
like suck your gut in. And I was cracking up, and I was
Yeah.
like, she was so serious. And Richard looked at me, and he's like, she does it to me too.
Just
and it
straight
was
to the
awesome,
point.
very straightforward,
Yeah.
and we were cracking up. Jiu-jitsu. So are you competing still?
So
Training?
man, I haven't competed in a while. I haven't competed since I got my purple belt.
Really?
Yeah, so it's been a while. It's been like 3 years since I've competed.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've just been between just
Work.
spending so much time on work, and I tore my labrum.
That's right.
Yeah, so I tore my shoulder out, and I was gonna get surgery on it, but I found out I didn't necessarily need it. And it was one of those things where the more you get an opinion on it,
Yeah.
the more you find out like this surgery's not necessarily gonna fix it,
Yeah.
and it's gonna put you out of commission for a solid 6 months where you're inside of that big,
Yeah.
contraption.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nah, you know what? I think I can manage this without the surgery, but I will have to take things slow.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I cut out, which was I stopped going with big guys.
Yeah.
Because I was going with everybody.
Yeah.
Guys like.
I used to do that too.
Guys like $150. I don't care. I'd go with them.
Yeah.
And that's how I got hurt.
Yeah.
Even though I went with Max last night. So.
Yeah, Max is a big, strong boy.
But he's gentle.
But Max
so.
Max is like big, strong boy that doesn't try to murder you.
Exactly.
Whereas some big, strong boys,
They try to
to murder you.
So.
When I tore my pec, that happened to me. I tore my pec badly, but the opinions I got were surgery or basically take a year of not working out too hard, and it's what stopped me from lifting weights heavy. It's because I tore my pec and I did not do the surgery, just like you, and it sucked for a long time. Still, I have no flexibility in my on my left side.
In the
So-
Americana direction or Kimura?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. Somebody goes up or down with my arm, I'm just like up.
Yeah.
Tap. I'm done. But I signed up for the Chicago Open.
Oh.
Chase sent me a message last week like, you got to get back in the gym and start training. And I was like,
Yeah,
I probably
dude.
should do that. But yeah, I've been so busy with work.
Yeah,
Same
man.
thing.
That's-
It's hard. I live in the suburbs, so I'd either have to come at 7 a.m. or in the middle of the day leave, come at noon, or at the end of my day. It's really tough to get it in. But I have to get it in because the last couple times I competed, I probably had more tournament matches than I had matches in class.
Oh, yeah?
But I just kind of go in there and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get after
you're
it.
so close to your purple, man. You might as well just go ahead.
I got to start training again. before I get there. I've like gone backwards. I've gotten
It
worse
happens.
and worse.
It happens.
But yeah, I'm gonna get back in there. Hopefully, I'll see you back
Yeah.
in there. Do you go noon usually or evening? if you
I've
go?
been mixing it up a little bit. So generally, I've been an evening guy, but I've been trying to get in there for noon class just because I feel like it helps set me up for the rest of the day. Like
Yeah.
it gives me a little energy.
Well, it's a block away, so I might start going noons on Wednesday before I come in here, and hopefully no big guys drop me on my head so that I can communicate
Yeah.
on air.
Trusted partners, man. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great.
I mean, I'm probably 165 pounds now too, so I get that too. Some of the guys, John's looking at me like, "What?" No, I am. I weighed myself this morning. I'm
Nice.
10 pounds heavier than
Put the other foot on the scale too.
the other challenge. Whoa!
Dang.
Put the other foot on the scale. Man, no, I'm 165-ish, but I have to be lighter than that for the Chicago Open. So I gotta lose some weight.
Bracket?
I'm doing light.
You're doing light. What is that? 154?
No,
Or
I
that's
can't do that
feather.
anymore. I think it's 164.5 maybe with my
Gotcha.
gi on or
Okay.
something. But I used to go feather, but I'm too old now. I can't do that stuff. I can't
Yeah.
cut weight like that anymore.
It's crazy. Like, I looked at the tournament, brackets and stuff, and I'm in Masters now, and that's kind of weird to me. Like, I was always an adult, and now I'm over 30.
You are
so
probably way too strong for Masters.
I think I should probably still do adult, but we'll see.
No, just go in purple belt Masters and grab a hold of somebody and they'll freak out.
With all my joint issues, it's like, I don't know. Because, like, I got wrist locked to hell, and, like, my thumb blew up from that.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I've been having issues with my grip recently because of I do a lot of judo.
Yeah.
And my hand swelled up on me one day from
Okay.
just gripping. Just because, my grip is very, very strong. And I think to an
Yes,
extent,
very strong.
Like, I became kind of a jerk about it, where I would just, like, literally grab people and then watch them just try to, like, struggle and get
Yeah.
away and just kind of laugh about it in my head.
Yeah.
And I think I paid the price by, like, like straining my hand.
Well, I'll never forget, like, when you grab a hold of, like, somebody's gi, I'm like, it's almost like a mini baker.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
when
it is a
Baker
little bit like
grabs
a mini
you,
Baker,
Baker
yeah.
grabs you, you're like, I'm going to
It's like,
die.
jeez.
But yeah, I got to get back to training again because I feel like when you work as much as we're working, having an outlet like that is so important to
Yeah.
just go and have an hour or 2 hours, in our case, just to get away from stuff. And I feel like I haven't had that lately where it's like work. I go home, hang out with my dog, for an hour or two, and then work again.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. A few years back, my grandma died. And on the day she died, I was super upset. She raised me. And I went and trained. And during that whole time that I was training, I didn't think about my grandma
think
at all.
about it, yeah.
Before I got in that door, like right up until I stepped foot on the mat, I was thinking about my grandma.
Yeah.
As soon as I got there training, I was just thinking about just being there and training and being with my friends,
Yeah.
because we've all known each other for so long.
Right.
And just, jiu-jitsu itself, wherever you go in the world, you hear people say the same thing. Like, when you train, you just forget everything.
Yeah.
And, when I got off the mat, I thought about my grandma again. But during that time, I got that headspace for myself.
Yeah.
And I was completely immersed. And that's important, I think, to get.
I agree. And shout out again to Jay. I've said it a couple times on the show. He's built such a great atmosphere of everybody in there has become such close friends. But when I go there, you're right. Nothing else really matters. Everything else kind of shuts off. For me, it's a lot like when I race cars. I've had a a month and a half that's been kind of tough, and I was racing in Virginia. I just remember I got in the car and I'm like, well, can't think about anything else.
Can't.
Just thinking about this. And it's a great thing if you are working your butt off to have some sort of outlet somewhere that allows you to just get away from it all. When you started the business, had you ever thought I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or did it just naturally flow into that?
It just naturally flowed, honestly. It was more so like entrepreneurship kind of found me.
Yeah.
Where it was, I know what it's like to work, and I know what it's like to, take orders from other people. And, it just seemed like it wasn't necessarily the thing for me. Because the thing is, I like serving people a lot. Like, my job at, the restaurant was awesome. And I brought a lot of that to my training job when I was the trainer for Metropolis. I was their head barista, and I trained all the staff. I was like, I want to bring that same sort of attention to the customer. Like, when someone would show up at Next, we wanted to know everything about them.
Yeah.
We wanted to know if they were left-handed or right-handed. So we'd be observing every single little thing about them because we want to know where to set the silverware for them. Because left-handed people, that's the thing about it. They run into so many everyday issues because the world doesn't accommodate them, that when you take notice and accommodate them and you set everything on the left-hand side for them, they really take notice because they're used to being inconvenienced.
Wow.
I can attest to that.
Are you a
I'm
left-handed?
left-handed.
I saw John
And
shaking
really,
his head.
Everything is, the whole world is right-handed.
Yeah.
And I know, I don't remember this, but my mom said that when I started school, I guess the thing used to be you tie the kid's arm, his left arm, and make him learn to write and everything right-handed. And my mom said, no, absolutely not. He was born this way. This is the way I want him to be.
This was 1824 when
Yeah,
John
right.
was born. Oh, yeah, 165, huh, buddy?
All right. fair enough.
But that's crazy. I mean, I'm right-handed.
Yeah. Same.
So, but your attention to detail then. I mean, obviously I see that now with your attention to detail for something like that in the service industry. Well, I imagine 99% of the service industry doesn't think that way. You do. And your attention to detail with your business and the coffee, that's a rarity. Most people, and I mean, we coach and train about 70 agents now, so I'm around a lot of people that I have to manage and coach. Attention to detail, it's a rare thing.
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
Thank you. And you know, the thing about it too, I feel super fortunate because that was my first job in, hospitality. And they told me, they were like, this is your first job in fine dining.
Yeah.
We're going to ruin every other place for you. Like, you're not going to be able to work anywhere else. And sure enough, after I left, because I wanted to get back into coffee, and I just didn't have the time because I was working super long days there. I went to another restaurant that was really well respected, but I was like, man, I can't do this. Like, you guys, it's too lax here. Like, I need more, like,
structure.
Giving a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, more like, we want to accommodate people who have, they're left-handed. We want to know everything about the customer. We want to do all these things. And that slack actually, like, exhausted me.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
So another good question, and you kind of bump and set it for me. If somebody's trying to, we always ask this because we got a lot of people that we want to cater a little bit to the entrepreneur side of things. Doesn't have to be a general entrepreneur, but if somebody wants to get into maybe the service industry or doing something, obviously nobody's going to make a coffee like you, but if somebody's an entrepreneur and they want to get into a business that's similar, not yours, is that the tip, attention to detail, or is there something else?
You know what? There's so many different things. I would say the last time I was on here, I remember saying, find out what your leverage point is.
Yeah.
And use the point of greatest leverage for yourself, whatever that might be. Another thing, just to kind of add to that particular tip, is to take your toolkit and then expand it. So basically take skills that you have and stack them in ways that are synergistic. So for example, I started off with hospitality, so that allows me to go into cafes, but it also lets me go into food products. So I don't have to go into this one particular route. Like, had I listened to what, most baristas, even, because there are like micro celebrities within the barista world.
Right.
They have their own things that they focus on. And, they have fanboys who will basically say, yeah, that's the thing, that's cool. And I'm like, that's cool, but is that scalable?
Right.
That's cool, but is that going to allow me to make money 24 hours a day?
Yeah.
Is that going to allow me to impact the most people? So I basically took that foundational thing and said, okay, what are skills that I can stack on top of this that allows me to get the kind of reach that I want, the kind of money that I want, the kind of time that I want?
I love that. And it's an incredible tip because I tell a lot of it's hard sometimes when I'm coaching and training people in the office because people come from differing backgrounds and obviously different experiences, but taking what you already know and like what you just said, starting to stack that and build different toolboxes to hit the goals that you want. That's an incredible tip. We haven't heard that one yet. We hear a lot of the kind of same types of tips that are reiterated, but that's a really, really good one. So anything that you got coming up soon? I mean, we typically go a half hour each guest. We're basically almost at an hour because I told you I could talk to this guy for 2.5 hours. Absolutely. We got so much to talk about. We didn't even talk about the UFC and what happened this weekend and DC becoming the two-weight champ and calling out Brock Lesnar, which
that was crazy.
When you look at where DC was last year, too,
when he lost to Jones,
that's crazy. Like,
he's crying in the ring, and then now he's the 2-weight world champ.
And you know what? Like, people who are just getting into UFC don't realize Cormier was the man. He was like legit.
Yeah.
And he still is, you know. But there was a time where it was him and Fedor were considered the best fighters in the planet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think with John Jones popping up because he's like a super freak athlete and just like incredibly talented, people kind of forgot and they slept on Cormier and they started to act like he was bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Cormier is amazing.
And I think he was beating Jones in that second fight.
Yeah.
And then Jones caught him. And he's a great life lesson, too. I mean, I read an article, I don't know who wrote it, but I was reading an article about DC that popped up on social media that showed, how many triumphs and then failures he had when it was in the Olympics when he was wrestling, and then when he got back in the UFC, he was doing really well, and then the loss to Jones, and then coming back, and then losing to Jones again in that very emotional and really kind of public way. And then the last year kind of reviving his career, and now he's the 2-weight world champ, and he's going to fight Brock Lesnar probably make a boatload of money.
I think he's going to
and
murk
retire.
Lesnar as well.
Oh, I think so too. Because
Yeah.
Kane kicked the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And so they kind of have a blueprint for that. And
Yeah.
I think DC's a nice guy in that he keeps saying that I think, Kane would be the best, heavyweight of all time because they're obviously training partners.
Yeah, right,
I think
right.
DC's better than Kane.
Yeah.
I think his dirty boxing's better. I think he's just
He's more
better.
complete.
Yeah, he's more
There's
complete.
more threats.
But I couldn't believe he beat Stipe because I thought Stipe is going to be too when Stipe beat Francis.
Yeah.
I was like Stipe is going to be too much for him. But hey,
Well, from the little bit that I saw in the Instagram highlights, it seemed like he was more clinch fighting and dirty
Yeah.
boxing with DC, and I think that was a mistake.
mistake.
Yeah.
Actually, DC said it. They had known that he kind of when he pushes back from dirty boxing, his hands are low. So
Oh.
they had trained that same. It at first looked like an elbow, and then he threw like a short right hook, and it worked.
Yeah.
And he hits harder than he looks like he hits because I saw Stipe afterwards, and it's
He
not
was
like
tore up.
he was tore up, but it didn't look like DC hit him that much, which goes back to show how tough John Jones is too.
Yeah, John Jones
Jones
is an
is
animal.
that guy's going to come back. And,
I mean,
yeah, I'd love to
needs to-
see the third one between them, but I almost think DC should beat Brock. Maybe take on one more dude and then
Yeah.
just. But DC's a competitor, so I'm sure he wants to run that back. One
he
more time.
probably does want to run it back. I mean, unfortunately, I think it's just John Jones is too much of a force
Yeah, I mean
you
he's
know.
maybe the greatest athlete
ever.
MMA's ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just sad to see what
Yeah.
his life is, how it's unfolded.
And he did it while he was partying like a madman.
Yes.
Like the stories of him doing like cocaine the week before he
Yeah.
had like a championship fight and partying till 5 a.m. Like it's insane.
I can't even drink a beer and
Yeah.
ride my damn trike. You know,
Yeah, this guy, and you're an athletic marvel
Yeah.
too. So that's crazy. Anything coming up? Anything we should be aware of with
Yeah.
Kyoto Black coming up soon that you want to announce?
Yeah, absolutely. So in October, CoffeeCon is coming to Chicago.
Cool.
And that's super cool event. So we get some of the best coffee in the city. All the best cafes will pop up. We even get people coming from Milwaukee, St. Louis, all kinds of stuff. Last year I did a lecture there.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to do one this year, but you'll definitely see me there, and it's really dope. So go to Google and just search CoffeeCon.
When is it gonna
Chicago.
be?
It's October, I think the 27th.
Okay,
something
cool.
like that. So yeah, that's what's coming up as far as big things. As far as like little stuff, I will be at farmers markets, every
Cool.
weekend. So follow me on Instagram to find out more about that.
Very cool.
specifically.
Windy City Smokeouts there, and usually we were talking about it. They have like a 1.5 mile long line to get in.
Wait, what is this?
Windy City Smokeouts this
Yeah.
weekend, and it's like the big country music festival, and they usually have the line goes for like 2 hours.
Oh snap!
It takes forever to get into that thing.
Yeah.
So you might want to
Post up.
post up by there
Yeah.
because it moves really slow. The difference in tickets between VIP and general admission is
Yeah.
like $200. So
Oh.
everybody just gets general admission.
Yeah.
And it's on Grand Avenue. It's like right off of Grand Avenue. There's like right under the highway.
Uh-huh.
So people just literally post up. So might be a good
Yeah.
place to stop this weekend, Friday and Saturday. We did a full hour. So
That's awesome.
Thanks again, man, for
Yeah.
coming on. We'll come out to CoffeeCon. I mean, I'm only going to come out and drink
Yeah,
your stuff
absolutely.
if it's
Yeah.
there because I'm not
Oh,
a big
yeah.
coffee guy, but I love your stuff. And I can't wait to get a kegerator. Thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having
Had
us.
a blast. We'll be back next Wednesday at 3 o'clock Central. Gaming for Green tomorrow. John, I think you probably put the graphic on there that told
I
people
did.
about Gaming
I
for
did.
Green. So go back and take a peek at it. We'll put it in the comments section as well. If you guys want to stop by tomorrow, I'm likely going to stop by for a short while. So come have a couple drinks with me. We'll gamble a little bit. Matt Rosen, if you're playing in the poker tournament, I will probably not play because I don't want to lose. I hate losing. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for listening. Follow us on Facebook, share us, like us, comment, please. We appreciate all the love and the shares and cool comments that we're getting from you guys. So see you guys next Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Bye.
Peace.
In 3, 2,